It's my Renping's soul. Chuzan and Yan Su looked at each other in disbelief. You really are a great-grandson of his. My Fugui wiped his tears. Cousin, when did you come? Yan Su replied calmly, just now. My Fugui cried even more. Did you come to see off my ancestor? Chuzan couldn't take it anymore and threw a tombstone at him. Shut up. Your ancestor is still alive. My Fugui was overjoyed. That's great. Little Chu, you're my god. Chuzan said in frustration, hurry up and dig this gold mine. Before she finished, she sensed something. Where's my gold mine? My Fugui pointed at Nyo Da Hua. He finished it. Da Hua is a pro at mining. Nyo Da Hua patted his belly. Yep. The gold is all stored in my belly. It's safe. Chuzan looked at Nyo Da Hua with admiration. Amazing. Yan Su looked at Chuzan in resignation. Such a money grubber. Chuzan called everyone out to discuss things. My Fugui suddenly asked, you really stored the gold in your stomach? How are you going to take it out later? Nyo Da Hua said, by pooping it out, of course. He shook his body. They saw people from Jinyao Temple waiting as they arrived at Wulan village. Look, Chuzan is back. We thought the demons in the forest ate them. Chu Mingzhuan noticed something. Is that Yan Su? When did he arrive? Qian Qiu knew the prince had changed his clothes. I let him. Tan Tai you noticed something weird. Because he and Di Chen were the same person. He was shocked. Di Cheng was slowly walking from behind, following Yan Su. Only then did Chuzan see Di Cheng. Chuzan glanced at Di Cheng. Is this guy stalking us? Tan Tai Yu was confused. How could Di Cheng and Yan Su appear at the same time? His gaze shifted between Yan Su and Di Cheng, trying to find something odd. Qian Qiu, who knew the truth, was elated. The Demon Emperor's tail. Each tail can be a clone. The 10 tails are all the original. It seems the prince has taken the tail back from that demon. Di Cheng said nothing. He walked to the carriage. The demons have been removed. Let's continue our journey. Chuzan casually agreed. Yes, Master Preceptor. Bai Yi immediately stood in front of Di Cheng. Master Preceptor, what happened to the villagers? My Fugui told him. The miners. They all died. When we entered, we saw that they were sucked dry. Bai Yi's expression changed again. We still couldn't save them. Though Chuzan didn't know who Bai Yi was, seeing him and Tan Tan together, she mused that this handsome young man was also from Dongli. Bai Yi suddenly asked. One more thing, the 3 bodies in the forest weren't killed by the demon. Who killed them? Di Chen replied without hesitation, I killed them. The surrounding area was silent. Chuzan was slightly surprised. Could it be that Di Chen killed those 3 ingrates? Bai Yi didn't understand. Why kill them? They were just ordinary people. Di Chen didn't explain, simply saying, I killed them because I wanted to. Tan Tan was speechless. Tan Tan immediately admired him. Lord, you're too good at playing this. A big account in the human world and a small demon account, dual-wielding like a boss. Chuzan stared at Di Chen's back thoughtfully, then tugged at Tan Tan's sleeve. Chuzan was still wondering why Di Chen killed those 3 people. Could it be because of those rumors about Chu Quan? Chuzan shook her head. It's nothing, Yan Su said, a thought striking her. Could it be she guessed the reason? Those 3 were ungrateful wretches. Even if the state preceptor hadn't killed them, they'd be dead anyway. Hearing this, Bai Yi turned around, rolling his eyes. Chuzan said indifferently, I saved them, but they became corrupted by the lure of gold. Wouldn't that make them ungrateful? Bai Yi was speechless. Yan Su was confused about Di Chen's actions. Chuzan chuckled. I was overthinking things. Okay, Yan Su said, accepting it. Who told you he was the silent, cold type? She looked at Chuzan, then she lowered her head and smiled. She guessed that Chuzan thought Di Chen was the father and lover of that brat. She couldn't help tapping Chuzan's forehead. With your brain, you want to be the queen. That cultivator, who was thrown out of the mine, was also brought out. From the cultivator's mouth, they learned that the villagers of Wuliang village hired him to eliminate demons and promised him a share of the gold mine. However, this cultivator didn't expect the demon to be so powerful. Moreover, one of the 3 villagers pushed his own son out to die, and the other 2 didn't care about anyone else's life. Bai Yi was furious. He had seen those 3 people. He didn't expect Chen to push his own son out to die. And these villagers knew all along that the flesh-eating demon existed, but they hid it. So the demon didn't lie. She wanted to save these people. The more Bai Yi thought about it, he came to the mountains to eliminate demons and save people, but he ended up being played by these rotten people. He was truly disappointed. Tan Tan quickly comforted him. Xiao Yi, calm down. Bai Yi took a deep breath. I'm not losing my head. I just feel like I'm an idiot. I'm going to apologize to the state preceptor. Tan Tan patted him on the shoulder. The state preceptor is not petty. Bai Yi said seriously, if I did something wrong, I have to own up to it. Seeing Bai Yi heading towards the state preceptor's carriage, Tan Tan didn't know what to do. Bro, you're going the wrong way. The boss is not there. Bai Yi sat down under Di Chen's carriage and pleaded guilty. It was my fault. I didn't understand the truth and questioned the state preceptor. I accept any punishment. From inside the carriage, only a few words floated out, it's okay. Bai Yi was relieved, he forgave me. Tan Tan quickly urged Bai Yi to return. Lord didn't blame you. If you stay here, you'll disturb our master. Bai Yi, feeling uneasy, left. Shi in Yansa's arms, asked aunt, she always came out of Sister Chu Jun's shadow. I was worried about her. Yansu wiped Shixai's tears, soothing him. She's fine. Why are you so upset? She cried harder. I want to protect sister, but I'm too weak. If I was as powerful as brother, I could help sister beat bad guys. Looking at the aggrieved Shishi, Yansu remembered that he sealed 2 of Shixai's tails to prevent him from running amok. Perhaps it's time to remove the seal. After all, it's a boy's duty to protect his mother. He immediately patted Shixai's head and comforted him. Men don't cry. If you want to become stronger, you can't cry. Shishi immediately stopped crying and clenched his small fist. I won't cry, I'm a man. Yansu playfully pinched Shixai's nose. Good boy, if you have more power, you'll become stronger, and then you can protect the person you want to protect. Shixai's eyes lit up. That's right, brother, please take care of auntie. I'm going to go find my tails first. Yansu knew Shishi wanted to ask Di Chen for his tails. He immediately shifted his mind back to Dahao Mountain. Inside Di Chen's carriage, Shishi rushed in and began to act spoiled. Daddy, I miss you. Di Chen began to comfort him again. Why are you crying? Shishi rubbed against Di Chen's chest, stopping his tears. It's nothing, I just miss Daddy. Di Chen knew the little brat's routine. The little brat was just like his mother, both were. The jealous demon lord was terrifying. He would directly tear the opponent apart, and would even eat his defeated foes. When Chujun returned, Di Chen's soul had already returned to Yansu's body. Chujun said she was going to open a domain in the carriage, you don't mind, right? Yansu asked, don't you want to be seen by those outside? Then I'll cover you. Chujun raised Yansu's face and kissed him. You're so good, little brother. Yansu was instantly charmed, you're so inappropriate. Chujun was even more inappropriate as she laughed and teased Yansu, little brother's face is so sweet. I bet your mouth is even sweeter. Yansu turned his head away a bit, it's late, hurry up and finish your business. Chujun was very obedient. Okay, I'll listen to little brother. After speaking, Chujun closed her eyes, then she directly opened the spatial domain. Mumu was worried. Master, refining the demon arm will take a lot of energy. I'm worried. Chujun told him not to worry. It's not easy to retrieve this arm. I can't just leave it. Mumu wanted to say more, but Chujun assured him again. I won't let anything happen to me. Mumu was silent as Chujun started refining the arm. With Chujun's current physical body, it might not be enough to withstand the power of her past body. After all, her Undying King's ability was only at the first stage. However, the refining process was unexpectedly smooth. Seeing that the demon arm was gradually being refined, Mumu was delighted. Master, you succeeded, Chujun chuckled. After all, it's my own stuff. It wouldn't be too hard to refine. After refining, Chujun's entire arm glowed with a jade-like luster, and she could feel that she was stronger than before. Mumu laughed with joy. Congratulations, master. Congratulations, master. However, Chujun, feeling this body, felt something was wrong. She felt that this body was strange, but she couldn't pinpoint what was so odd. Mumu guessed that it was because of the lunar eclipse. Chujun had no choice but to accept that explanation for now. Inside the carriage, Chujun closed her eyes, meditating. Yansu also closed his eyes, recuperating. Chujun's shadow began to ripple. Moroshing smiled and emerged from the shadow. I, the Demon King, finally have a chance. Chujun, your death is now here, go to hell. Once you are dead, I will be free. As he spoke, Moroshing's hand grabbed Chujun's neck. Just as his hand was about to tighten, Chujun suddenly opened her eyes and slowly asked, is that so? Instantly, a murderous aura came from the side, shattering Moroshing's arm. Moroshing roared in pain. Yansu quickly wrapped his arms around Chujun. He pulled her into his embrace. Are you hurt? Chujun leaned onto Yansu. No, he can't hurt me. Moroshing reattached his broken arm, glaring at Yansu. Don't be so angry, dear brother. I'm encouraging my master. Yansu directly told Moroshing to shut up. Ling Ling instantly rushed out, delivering a blow to Moroshing's face. Moroshing rubbed his swollen cheek. You two ate enough dog food, did you? I'm just teasing your wife. Yansu again gave off a dangerous aura. I told you to shut up. Moroshing sensed the danger. However, before he could react, Yansu blew him apart. The immortal Moroshing pieced his body back together. He stared angrily at Yansu. You dead fox, are you done yet? I didn't even touch your woman's hair. You blew me to pieces, that's too much. Chujun gently hugged Yansu. She flicked a blade of wind toward Moroshing. If you don't want to have your soul scattered, you'd better shut up. Seeing this, Moroshing's anger skyrocketed. You lovebirds are bullying me. Chujun smiled as she comforted Yansu. This guy is just an old piece of wood, has already been bound and sealed by me. He can't hurt me. Yansu still looked cold. I know who he is, but that doesn't stop me from wanting to kill him. Seeing Yansu's angry expression, Chujun said, why don't we turn him into mincemeat? Yansu looked like he was considering that. Moroshing saw the couple getting cozy and couldn't help reminding Chujun, my dear master, leave some leeway, just in case we have to see each other again in the future. Chujun was indifferent. Is that so? Moroshing glanced at Yansu. This fox demon is jealous and overprotective, isn't he? Just because I pinched this female demon's neck. Look how angry he is. The demon emperor is quite domineering indeed. Moroshing's eyes showed a hint of calculation. Chujun saw through that little bit of emotion. I don't like that look in your eyes. Do you want me to teach you how a servant should speak to their master? Moroshing immediately cowered. A wise man knows better than to fight when the odds are against him. He immediately knelt down obediently. Master is right. Only then did Chujun ask him, why did you come out of my shadow on your own? Although Moroshing was kneeling, he didn't lose his arrogance. I came out to remind you, master. The guy in the Dongla barrier knows you're coming. Be careful. Yansu was slightly surprised. There's a demon in Dongli. Moroshing sneered, wherever there is a barrier, there's a demon. That guy is very dangerous, master. Don't fall into his trap. After all, we're all in the same boat right now. Chujun glanced at Moroshing coldly. Of course I'll be careful. You better not mess with me, or you won't like the consequences. Moroshing said, naturally, I won't. I am always loyal to you, my master. As he spoke, his voice slowly faded away. He gradually merged back into Chujun's shadow. Chujun was lost in thought. She felt that the hidden soul of Kangui being in Donglu was a bit too convenient. Could it be that someone is intentionally guiding me here? Could it be the demon inside the Dongla barrier? Who exactly is he? By the way, why do I feel like giving my tail to you doesn't affect my strength at all? Yansu smiled sweetly. Didn't you give me the tail of the demon emperor? Chujun was slightly surprised. You refined it so quickly. Yansu's smile said it all. Not yet. However, Yansu looked at Chujun and became cautious. Moroshing was bound in her shadow. She still didn't really understand the shadowy demon. Yansu's face darkened as she thought about it. Chujun finally remembered baby Shishi. Yansu was still dwelling on something and didn't have the mind to answer her question. She pushed Chujun away. If you're okay, I'm going to refine the tale first. Chujun, reluctant, wanted to stay longer. In his past life, after Chu, he lost not only his spiritual power, but also his true form and beauty. Right? Did I become the most hated creature after Chu? He couldn't even speak. He was even given the repulsive nature of a human. Bai intended to send Hama Jin back to the Bai mansion first and deal with it when he returned. However, Meng Fuguan went to the prince's mansion halfway to report. The Grand Commander directly sent people to arrest him. The guards were led by Li Ju. However, Meng Fuguan questioned them. Hama Jin is being arrested on the order of the Grand Commander. Is there anything wrong with that? You guys are interfering. Li Ju couldn't argue, and could only watch as Meng Fuguan took Hama Jin away. He cursed the prince's mansion in his heart, and immediately sent someone to report the incident to the old face of Master Ji. Several Masters Ji dragged Hama Jin towards the altar. They opened the door, and dumped Hama Jin heavily on the ground. His golden glow could not go far, but was surrounded by the altar. At this time, the high priest arrived. Everyone looked at Hama Jin with disdain. One of the priests couldn't understand. This Hama Jin is just annoying to look at. Do we really have to offer this to the Mountain Lord as a sacrifice? The high priest also looked at it with disdain, but this was the Mountain Lord's will, and no one could object. As he spoke, the high priest began to chant a prayer. The Mountain Lord has given us the blessing. The evil demon resides in a solitary place. Only the Mountain Lord can completely destroy it. After chanting, the high priest's eyes suddenly widened, and he ordered the guards to carry Hama Jin to the altar. Several priests, like they were dragging a dead dog, dragged Hama Jin to the altar. They kept glancing at the Mountain Lord's tail. They were willing to use their power to refine this filthy thing for the mountain people. While being dragged, Hama Jin quietly dropped a piece of something. It was his demon core, which rolled into the grass. The two priests didn't notice and continued to drag Hama Jin to the altar. Then they threw him heavily onto the altar, cursing him as ugly. Hama Jin glared angrily at the statue in front of him. Suddenly, several iron nails descended from the sky. They pinned him firmly to the ground. A sinister laugh echoed in the space. Hama Jin stared at the stone statue. Fake, you're not Kangui at all. Then a voice sounded, how pitiful. The phoenix-slaying demon king is now such an ugly sight. You even have to resort to this body. The grudges between you humans are truly bewildering. Even I am moved. The imposter Kangui's words pierced Hama Jin's heart. He had lost his power, his true form, his beauty, and even his voice. His soul was forced into the body of a horse demon. Not only that, but everyone who saw him couldn't help but sneer with disdain. And the one thing that Chu hated the most was a horse. The imposter suddenly laughed. The Demon King, did you think that Chu sacrificed everything for you? What a joke. Naturally, a useless dog like you deserves to be on the receiving end of my taunts. He struggled but couldn't break free. Hama Jin glared at the imposter. You are not worthy of mentioning our Chu's name. The imposter continued to provoke. It's a pity. Even if Chu is resurrected, he won't remember you. Even if he does remember you, can he recognize you in your current form? Now, you are just a creature he despises. Maybe he will just slice you into pieces when he sees you. The imposter laughed maniacally. He looked down at Hama Jin. Chu is already in Dongli. Soon, he will become my plaything. Hama Jin, you are destined to die in front of him again. From the imposter's words, Hama Jin realized something. Our Chu has been resurrected, and has in Dongli. But no, he can't come to Dongli yet. I must. To escape and warn Chuzan, Hama Jin didn't hesitate to self-destruct. In an instant, his body on the altar was torn into pieces, leaving only a pile of green goo. However, the imposter wasn't flustered. A look of control appeared on his face. Self-destruct, how devoted you are to Chu. At this time, Hama Jin's demon core happened to fall into the water. After falling into the water, his body began to reform, a translucent green body. Hama Jin ignored the pain and moved toward the shadows. Chu, wait for me. I won't let anyone hurt you again. A moment later, Hama Jin emerged from the water. This time, his body was even stranger, covered in green bubbles. Looking at his own body, Hama Jin couldn't help but be disappointed. He kept grabbing at the bubbles on his body. Why am I a horse demon? Chu hates horses the most. Especially horse demons. No, I can't give up. Even if I become the form Chu hates the most, I have to protect him. Hama Jin perked up and stood up, leaving with only one thought in his mind. Protect him, protect the best At the same time, Chu Jun dreamed of a time 1,000 years ago. At that time, she was the least favored child in the palace because the other princes and princesses awakened their talents at 5 or 6. But she was 10, and still just an ordinary child. The prince, Chu Yi, often locked her in a dark corner, calling her useless. He ordered servants to dump 2 sacks of something into the dark corner. Hundreds of frogs jumped towards her from the dark corner. Chu Jun cried for help. At the same time, she woke up from her dream, gasping for breath. Why do I keep dreaming of that place? Yun-su quickly pulled her into his arms. You dreamed again? Chu Jun nodded. It's nothing. Yun-su was still worried. Are you sure? Chu Jun hugged Yun-su tightly to reassure him. I'm certain. After speaking, she couldn't help but throw up. The psychological trauma Hama Jin left her was not small. Mumu suddenly noticed this and exclaimed, Good Lord, is Xiao Jun pregnant? Who did this? Chu Jun said in a low tone. The demon's power flared suddenly. Then, I sensed a strong murderous aura from Yun-su. He began crying, Xiao-kun, you can't abandon me. I haven't even left the nest yet. I was speechless. I said, I had a nightmare. I dreamt I ate your rotten eggs. Mei Fugui pouted. Are they really that bad? I didn't argue with him. Why did you come so early? He presented 2 big boxes. Here's breakfast for you. Looking outside, I realized it was morning. I slept so well. Yun-su helped him put on his clothes. Let's wash up first before we eat. Later, I accidentally found out about the Hamaging. I understood a little more about the East Mountain Lord. I am even more convinced that it was not the real Mountain Lord's secret. The Jinyao Temple group began their journey. Chu Mingzhuan had dinner with them. The simple meal made it difficult for them to swallow. I looked at their breakfast, envious. Looks good. Huda Biao tossed me a cornbread. Eat? I shook my head. No thanks, it's too hard. This cornbread is like a rock. Rich people sure are different. Huda Biao, go ask for some pastries from them. Huda Biao's eyes lit up. Where are they? Qian Qiu and Chu Mingzhuan suddenly didn't want their cornbread. Of course, it's the East Royal Mansion. Go on before the staff yell at you. Hearing that, Huda Biao dropped the cornbread and ran away. I can't eat this stuff anymore. Qian Qiu ran after him. I want pastries. Chu Mingzhuan watched them, then looked away shyly. A guard looked at him. Third Prince, don't you want to try the pastry? I ate the pastry while mocking Chu Mingzhuan. Third Prince, why are you being so reserved? This pastry is really good. Chu Mingzhuan felt frustrated. He had lowered his status to get support, now it was being taken away. Huda Biao whispered to others, did the third prince prepare the cornbread? It's too heartless. We should have hunted in the forest. The sun rose high. I stretched. The air is so good. I washed up quickly. Men shouldn't care about such details. A little messy is better. Look at my cousin, always nagging me. Mumu took it as flirting. If you don't like your cousin, give him to me. I splashed water at Mumu. Dream on. My cousin is mine only. Mumu laughed. Master, you're jealous. I denied it. It's not jealousy, it's brotherhood. Suddenly, rustling noises came from the nearby woods. I stopped talking. I made a hand signal to Mumu. They saw Tan Taiyu and Bai Yi talking. They weren't trying to keep it a secret. Tan Taiyu said, why are people at the royal mansion so serious? Why are they making a big deal out of a Hamaging? I had a bad feeling. Why is it always about them? He walked up to them. Tan Taiyu, Bai Yi and Tan Taiyu were startled. When they saw it was me, they laughed awkwardly. Oh, it's you Chu Jun. I reminded them, if you're going to talk in secret, be careful. Someone might overhear. Tan Taiyu and Bai Yi looked at each other, then suspiciously at me. I rolled my eyes. Don't worry. I'm not like that. I'm a very political person. Tan Taiyu. They looked at me. Bai Yi quickly changed the topic. Thank you, Princess Chujun, for the reminder. Bai Yi shall remember this. Tan Taiyu looked at Bai Yi. Little Yi, you're still the same. I acted all high and mighty. You're welcome. After all, we rely on our friends when we are out, right? Bai Yi looked at me with adoration. Last night, you told me that you're an honored guest of East Li for the sake of the late Mountain Lord. Mentioning that, I felt a pang of anger. That Lan Yi probably isn't a Kangui. Let's forget about the late Mountain Lord, but sending him to reincarnation might be good. But that's what I only told Bai Yi. I asked Tan Taiyu, you said the Mountain Lord told you in a dream that he is about to pass away soon, but actually that was from a priest, right? I was making it sound light-hearted. Tan Taiyu was serious. Do not disrespect the Mountain Lord, especially since we're in East Li. I raised my eyebrows. Does he know how much they hated priests? Then, I asked, does the Mountain Lord make you believe in him? Tan Taiyu said, yes, but it's only some simple sacrifices. It's out of respect. Bai Yi scoffed. Tan Taiyu complained, Xiao Yi, you do this every time. You always frown when we talk about the Mountain Lord. Bai Yi said, can't I hate him? Then, he let out a snort. I could tell he wasn't happy with the Mountain Lord. I figured Bai Yi probably knew something. I told Tan Taiyu, go to the forest first. I'll go there later. Tan Taiyu agreed and left. Bai Yi saw through my actions. You're trying to separate you. I can see that General Bai doesn't have the same views on the Mountain Lord's priests, I said. Hearing this, Bai Yi became serious. He finally opened his mouth to speak his mind. I wanted to know more. I opened my barrier. Now you can talk freely. Bai Yi was still hesitant. Do you know about the Kangui of East Li? The Kangui is the master of the mountains and rivers. Anything he does will cause a reaction. He can hear the sounds of all things. But I internally thought. Bullshit. That charlatan could also pretend to be a Kangui. Seeing that I wasn't bothered, Bai Yi was still worried. Can this barrier really block the Mountain Lord's senses? I awkwardly answered, the East Royal Mansion hired me to save your Mountain Lord. Right? So, I gotta have something up my sleeves. What else can I use, my beauty? Only then did Bai Yi reveal some hidden truths. The Mountain Lord has always used sacrifices, but the priests use demons instead. I smiled. Demons? General Bai, you feel sorry for them. Bai Yi thought, maybe the princess and the Jinya temple think all demons should be killed. Moo Moo laughed. I didn't expect that the young general was an idealist. I continued to question Bai Yi. Are there demons left? Have they all been captured? Bai Yi said that they capture them elsewhere. Not long ago, we captured a Hamajing. The priest will probably use it. Mentioning Hamajing made me feel disgusted again. That Hamajing was weird. Seeing it makes me feel uneasy and hostile towards it. Bai Yi kept on describing it. The high priest ordered to keep it alive, but I found out that it saved a mountain folk from Wulan Mountain. Maybe we were wrong about it. Bai Yi sighed. That feeling of disgust was still there. But I considered what he had said. Maybe that's what a Hamajing feels like. After asking, I gathered my thoughts. He patted Bai Yi's shoulder. Thanks, General Bai. Now, I have a deeper understanding of East Li. Bai Yi blushed. It's nothing. After all, Princess Chujun is our guest. Is a guest. 1,000 years ago, he defeated the world for her, destroyed mountains, ran across the world, gave her a floating waistline that allowed her to reach for the clouds. Turned a princess that was bullied into a powerful ruler. She had also done everything for him, willing to allow her soul to be trapped within what she hated the most. After discussing it with Bai Yi, I returned to find Jian Quan. Is the state preceptor awake? Jian Quan flinched. I figured, I must have given him trauma about his tale. Why are you so nervous? What are you hiding? Is that so? Jian Quan awkwardly laughed. You're overthinking. Di Chen's voice came from the carriage. Get in. I quickly climbed into the carriage. Huda Biao and others gossiped. Do you think the state preceptor will promote Chujun? Huda Biao frowned. Promote? Are you crazy? A Jinyao temple member asked. What do you mean, Captain? Isn't it good that the state preceptor is promoting Chujun? Huda Biao sighed. I'm worried for the state preceptor. That thief wants his clothes. The Jinyao temple members started discussing. The captain is daring, but isn't it too reckless? Another added, should we ask the cousin? Huda Biao immediately agreed. Yes, let's ask the cousin. Inside the carriage, I saw 1111 in Di Chen's arms. Isn't that the little silly 1111? How does it have 3 tails? I asked Di Chen, state preceptor, why did you call me here? Di Chen said bluntly, I think the princess was looking for me. I didn't deny it. I can give you the Gulan Hua, but you have to stop bothering Yunsu. Di Chen didn't answer. Why are you protecting your cousin? I nodded. After all, he's my cousin. I have to protect him. Di Chen smiled. Yunsu is lucky. I had a condition. During this trip, I want to investigate the Jinyao temple. Di Chen readily handed me a token. You better keep your word. I smiled. Of course, I'd never lie to you. By the way, what's up with Zix's tail? After finishing talking, I started drooling over Zix's tail again. Di Chen closed his eyes, not wanting to deal with me. I became annoyed. The fire in me was raging. He's definitely ignoring me. Mumu tried to reason with me. Don't be mad, master. He's your soulmate. I didn't know that at the same time, Di Chen was busy splitting his attention into 2. On the other side, Huda Biao and the others were gossiping loudly outside Yunsu's carriage about me stealing Di Chen's clothes. Yunsu thought, too noisy. The 2 separate situations made Di Chen's consciousness flicker. When Di Chen focused again, he said, you want to take my clothes. Both of us were immediately shocked. What was that? I didn't know how to reply, but Di Chen looked calm. A moment later, I said jokingly, State Preceptor, are you inviting me? Di Chen kicked me out of the carriage, and used the threat of killing Yunsu again. Chu Mingjuan and the others looked at Di Chen's carriage in shock. I yelled while holding up the token, State Preceptor. How dare you? Chu Mingjuan noticed something. Cousin. That token. Is that the State Preceptor's token? How did you get it? I nodded. Yeah. The State Preceptor was happy with me and gave me control over everything in this trip. Chu Mingxuan's face darkened. The Jinyao temple members were angry. Why? We should have gotten it. I glared at them. Why? Because I can beat you up. Because I'm a merciless killer. Because my waist is not to be messed with. Do you want to try me? They were all scared. No one dared to say anything. They continued to move on. Suddenly, there was a report that there was a flash flood ahead, and the road was blocked. They had to take a detour back to the central area. Bai Yi found it odd. The river was fine when I came back before. It didn't rain last night. Why would there be a flash flood? Tan Taiyu ordered to return to the central area first. The group was forced to change the route. I was resting on Yunsu in the carriage. Yunsu quietly provided a pillow. I started having a nightmare, calling out Ban Russ' name. Yunsu began to think of Kongquming Wang. He quickly summoned him. That peacock, are you loyal to him? I mocked myself, even the demon emperor would still not look at me. How would he like me? Yunsu didn't understand. I nodded. Yeah, some people follow a demon emperor, and others a demon queen. Ban Yu was a carefree demoness, but my former self killed all the demons. When he killed Ban Yu, I would send her small gifts. Because I was late in awakening, my former self often tormented me. One time, he locked me in the basement for 7 days. Ban Yu saved me from that basement. My former self broke 4 of Ban Russ' fingers, pulled out all his feathers, locked him in chains and humiliated him. When I woke up, I changed. He was unique. He was the only one who trained both spiritually and physically, and no one was his match. He killed my former self and took his face to comfort Ban Yu. Actually, I was envious of Ban Yu because I would steal his words for my writing. Hearing that, Yunsu understood. Ban Yu is the first demon to follow you. I nodded. Ban Yu gave me a chance. And I'm also willing to give Ban Yu the best. That's a two-way love. Yunsu looked at me with pity. You really suffered a lot back then. But he also understood why my demon would be willing to be trapped by her. My complexion grew worse. It felt like she was in the dark depths. A familiar figure was running and calling for her. An ugly, disgusting Hamajing was chasing after Ban Ru. Its body was covered with boils and its face was hideous. Although I couldn't see its face clearly, I knew it was Ban Ru. She watched Ban Ru fell on the ground. She could see him but couldn't grab his hand. It's like they were separated by an invisible wall. She tried to break through but couldn't. She could only watch him be devoured by that Hamajing. Heaven not only placed Ban Ru's soul within the Hamajing, it killed her former self. It wants to make the two lovers to suffer the greatest pain. I was having a nightmare, dreaming of Ban Ru being swallowed by a Hamajing and that she could not save him. A voice kept guiding me, kill the Hamajing. Kill that Hamajing. Suddenly, I woke up with a gasp. I realized that I wasn't in the carriage, but in a chaotic space. Everything felt hazy. Moroshin slowly came out of the darkness. My dear master, you're finally here. Looking at the crazy Moroshin, I was confused. Are you out of your mind? Moro appeared in a weak form. Those who are practical are heroes. Chujun understood now. Her consciousness was dragged into the shadows. Moro said, I thought the host was afraid of me being alone, so he came to keep me company. Chujun looked towards the darkness. She understood, it's you, isn't it? Why drag my consciousness in here? The shadow cowered, to protect you. It reached out to touch Chujun. Chujun said sharply, I don't need this kind of protection. Send me back. The shadow immediately cowered, afraid to act rashly. Instead, it knelt before Chujun, a subservient form. Moro was confused. He knew the shadow had pulled Chujun in. He thought Chujun was unable to control the shadow, but it was now acting so differently. Moro looked at Chujun, Master, your shadow. Chujun interrupted, you're good at analyzing the situation. Chujun asked Moro if he knew the shadow's origin. Moro looked pained, it's not that I don't want to say, but this shadow, like the heavenly laws, will prevent me. Chujun was annoyed, the heavenly laws were interfering with her dreams. Chujun's consciousness left, and a voice echoed from the shadow, keep his mouth shut, don't let him say things he shouldn't. Moro shuddered in fear, doubting Chujun's simple demonic status. He wondered, who is she? What's her connection to the abyss? Why did the heavenly laws suppress her so much years ago? Chujun's consciousness returned to reality. Her first sensation was a soft, furry tail. She started stroking it. Yansu blushed, are you doing this on purpose? Chujun woke up, oh, I just woke up. What were you saying? Chujun looked at Yansu innocently. In her mind, Mumu shouted, Master is being lewd to her cousin. Her cousin lent his tail and you're being lewd. I'm being wronged. Chujun wanted to explain. Yansu pushed Chujun down. Chujun panicked, we're in the carriage. Don't mess around. Yansu said, what does it matter? You've always been like this. When am I ever like that? I sometimes restrain myself. Yansu grabbed Chujun. So what if I don't restrain myself? He kissed Chujun, making her defenseless. She understood what her cousin was doing. Yansu stood up, wanting to leave. Chujun was confused by her cousin's seduction. In her mind she raged, my cousin is flirting with me. He's so brave now. Mumu laughed, Master, you were flirting first. Her cousin is just returning the favor. Chujun pinched Mumu's cheeks. Why are you on his side now? Don't you have your master? How could that be? The master is always the master. My cousin is my cousin. Yansu knew Chujun was zoning out with Mumu, but Chujun's expression. Yansu realized Chujun was not interested in romance. At the same time, a chubby face popped in, Sister, you're doing that thing with brother Xiang. Chujun and Yansu were surprised. Why is he here suddenly? Yansu blushed. I don't know. She was looking from the window, were you kissing? Why are you kissing? Does sister have candy in her mouth? What? Chujun was speechless. Yansu was amused. He grabbed Shishi from the window, telling him, yes, she has candy in her mouth. Shixai's eyes lit up. Chujun's face was flushed. What are you talking about? Yansu winked. It's not just candy, it's very sweet. You'll want more. Chujun was teased. She didn't expect such words from Yansu. Cousin, you. The carriage arrived at Qianqing Fortress. They would rest there for a few days. Mumu asked why the master wanted to stay there. Was she suspicious of Han Nong? Chujun nodded. She had been dreaming of the abyss calling for her to kill Han Nong. If the shadow hadn't pulled her away, she might have been controlled by the heavenly laws. Mumu worried. We've always suspected Han Nong. Chujun knew they suspected Han Nong was a traitor of the 8 demon generals. Master, you were always in seclusion the year you died. Han Nong was always by your side. Chujun laughed. It's not your fault. This is all a trick of the heavenly laws. When Chujun was reborn, her first thought was revenge. The second was to find the traitor. But after finding Mumu and Han Nong, she felt something was wrong. After she woke up, she didn't remember the 8 demon generals. She only remembered after meeting Mumu. If she didn't remember them, why did she want to find the traitor? This was suspicious. Chujun had a bad feeling. Han Nong and Ban Ruo might be in cahoots with the heavenly laws. Why do you think the heavenly laws don't like Ban Ruo? Mumu asked. Chujun explained, probably because I killed the heavenly law's favorite. Jiao Jialong returned from the East Realm. The royal palace is normal. But the guards are suspicious. Jiao Jialong said the guards were humans possessed by demonic weapons. Jiao Jialong's expression changed. He smiled. They are hurting my people. Jiao Jialong spoke about a demonic horse being kept at the palace that was said to be captured by the mountain master. It has the power of immortality. Jiao Jialong laughed. They don't like that. Chujun's message arrived. Find the demonic horse. Ban Ruo can't be trusted. Nanji said, the demonic horse that the princess wants might be the same that the royal family has. Jiao Jialong was jealous, so it's that horse he cares about. Nanji laughed, so that's why the master dislikes Ban Ruo. Hu Yao's child kindly warned someone about dirty food, but they called him an orphan. Chujun was alerted by the noise downstairs. No matter who you are, you won't have good bones here. They are bullying me. Shishi cried. Hu Daobiao comforted Shishi, don't cry. The master is coming. Chujun's expression darkened. What happened? Shishi heard Chujun's voice and immediately ran over. She jumped into Chujun's arms. They scolded me. Chujun checked if she was hurt. Shishi said bravely, they couldn't hurt me. Chujun looked towards the 2 people. They looked arrogant, with bruises on their faces. Chujun asked, what happened? Hu Daobiao explained. Shishi told them that their food was dirty. They were angered and she threw away their food. Those 2 are trash. A 3-year-old can defeat them. One of them said, you people bully us. We were eating and she insulted us, saying we would die. Chujun smiled coldly. Oh, is that so? Let me show you what happens. Countless vines attacked the 2 men. They couldn't dodge. Chujun, why are you doing this to us? You're being unreasonable. Chujun sneered. Unreasonable. You haven't seen anything yet. Who gave you the idea I'm a reasonable person? Chujun released all her power. Her power was terrifying. Chujun picked up Shishi. Look. The vines beat the men mercilessly. Third prince, save us. Shishi cheered. Hit them harder. They have bad hearts. Chu Mingzhuan pleaded. This is a misunderstanding. It's just a child's game. They didn't hurt the child. Chujun laughed. They didn't hurt Shishi because they are useless. Are you trying to defend them? Yansu walked down the stairs. If their food and people are problematic, what are you doing? Yansu cast a spell. 2 golden lights illuminated the men. The 2 men transformed. Everyone gasped. Why are they like that? They attacked Chu Mingzhuan. Chu Mingzhuan yelled, save me, cousin. Chujun said, I bet on the 3rd prince. The other one, the black fur demon. Hu Daobiao was embarrassed. Chu Mingzhuan was no match. He cried out. 2 swords flew, saving Chu Mingzhuan. Chujun looked at Chu Mingzhuan. Is Shishi still making things up? Chu Mingzhuan was angry. The Jinyao temple was in chaos. Is the food really poisoned? Is there demonic poison? We should be able to detect it. Dae analyzed the food. There's demonic poison, but not enough to make them transform. There is something else. Yansu held up a wine jug. The problem is the water. Everyone drank it and felt fine. Yansu said, this ISNT wine, it's demonic water. Most of the people in East Realm had lost their ability to detect demonic energy, especially you, Tan Tai Yu. How could you not detect it? Yansu told him to look at the backyard. Tan Tai Yu asked Bai Yi for help. Look, Bai Yi said. Shishi excitedly said, I want to see too. Chujun smiled. Did my cousin discover something amazing? In the backyard, Yansu asked a Jinya temple member to bring some water. No one saw anything, but Shishi said, "This water is black." The food that they ate was black too. With Yansu's spell, they saw black fog emerging from the water. Bai Yi was shocked. How can there be demonic energy? Hu Dabiao was stunned. Everyone drank that. Chu Jun smiled at Bai Yi. Don't you understand? It's the mountain master. Shishi doubted this. He's a big demon. Chu Jun hugged Shishi. Our Shishi is so smart. Tan Tai, you defended the mountain master. He's my god. He would never do this. Chu Jun said seriously, you're a chosen one. Everything is clear to you. If he's your god, then open your eyes and look at the scars beneath your feet. Look at the mountains and rivers. Tan Tai, you looked towards the distance. His eyes shimmered. He saw black energy covering the mountains and even the sky. Tan Tai was shocked. How is this possible? Mountain master, Bai Yi said, you see it. Chu Mingjuan screamed. Hair is growing out of my wounds. Shishi said, this brother is going to become a demon. The two Jinyao temple members backed away. Chu Mingjuan cried, save me, cousin. Chu Jun said, don't panic. My Fugue can save you. Everyone who drank this water or ate the food, go find my Fugue. The Jinyao temple members ran to find my Fugue. Hu Dabiao panicked, quick, go find my Fugue. Chu Mingjuan struggled, I'm the third prince. Shishi was excited. Chu Jun asked when Yan Su discovered the abnormality. Yan Su said he noticed something strange the moment he entered the eastern realm. The water is different. It is blocking demonic energy. Chu Jun felt this was complicated. She ran towards the river with Yan Su. Thousands of years apart, they were close, but not yet recognized. A missed chance. Chu Jun felt a bad feeling. She asked Yan Su to show her the river. Soon Yan Su led him to the river. Chu Jun counted the big words. Cousin, you're really... Suddenly, Mumu coldly interrupted. Master, you shouldn't compliment a man on being fast. Chu Jun quickly explained, I meant fast as in quick. Nothing else. Yan Su glanced at him, not understanding what Chu Jun meant by nothing else. As a fox demon who had lived for thousands of years, but never been in love, he was a bit lacking in certain areas of knowledge. At this point, Chu Jun was carefully observing the river water. Just as his cousin said, it was different from other water. Chu Jun scooped up a handful of water. It had a fishy smell, like a siren's call. Yan Su nodded. Yes, and these. Chu Jun frowned. When he came out, he saw a strange fire symbol, like a brand, something familiar. Thinking of this, Chu Jun felt a headache. What a mess. Then he calmed down. Could this be related to Ban Ruo? Yan Su didn't understand. Why would this be related to that demon? Chu Jun explained, lately in my dreams, a voice kept telling me to kill Hama Jin to save Ban Ruo. But I realized that's probably not true. It's probably the Heavenly Tao's scheme again. Chu Jun brought his thoughts back to the present. It seems someone poisoned the river to stop the villagers from taking water. That's why the town hasn't had a problem. This poison isn't meant to harm, but to save. Could it be that Hama Jin? Chu Jun had a strong feeling that if he found Hama Jin, he could find Ban Ruo. In the distance, ripples appeared in the river. Ban Ruo surfaced, observing nearby. He couldn't hear the conversation clearly, but could vaguely see the figures. Achu, is that my Achu? When Ban Ruo came closer, he saw clearly. It really was Chu. He's really back. At this time, Yan Su and Chu Jun had turned to leave, not noticing Ban Ruo. But Chu Jun felt something and stopped. Yan Su was confused. Chu Jun looked back. I feel like something is watching us from under the water. Suddenly, Yan Su jumped into the river. I'll go check it out. The water is poisoned. Don't come down. Wait up there. Chu Jun didn't even have time to react. Cousin is really decisive. Yan Su kept diving deeper, but didn't see anyone. Then, he spotted something in the water. Chu Jun was worried and asked Yan Su if he was okay. Yan Su immediately resurfaced. I'm fine. There's something down there. He showed a small piece of something that was gently glowing. Chu Jun was serious. Was that Hama Jin? Did you fight him? Yan Su shook his head. I didn't see Hama Jin. I only saw a severed arm. It was still bleeding, so he hasn't been gone long. Yan Su's gaze turned cold. Why would he sever his arm to escape? And how was he so fast? Chu Jun was surprised. Even you couldn't catch him. Yan Su nodded. Just as I was about to lose track of him, I used my divine sense to cover thousands of miles, but still barely caught his scent. Hama Jin must have been taken away by another demon. That demon had a Jiaolong aura. Chu Jun frowned. Jiaolong impossible. Even if he captured Hama Jin, he wouldn't be able to escape you. Yan Su also knew it couldn't be Jiaolong. He wasn't fast enough. Chu Jun immediately decided to send a message to Jiaolong. In a dark prison, a man in black robes threw Ban Ruo heavily on the ground. Dare to escape again, and he'll kill you. Ban Ruo tried to curse, but could only make Jiu noises. He was shocked. How? Why would you hurt Chu? The statue coldly said, the heavenly Tao really does favor you, Kunping of the Kun clan, Kun Kui Yan. The man in black slowly took off his hood, revealing a scarred face. Kang Tian, you gave me a chance to revive and avenge myself. But you, the fourth of the 4 demon leaders. You thought by hiding in this body you could control him and kill Chu. Or did you think that she would be easy? Ban Ruo angrily made a Jiu noise. Shameless. Your dirty mouth is unworthy of saying Chu's name. When he recognized Chu Jun in the water, he wanted to talk to him, but he realized something was wrong. The demon energy in his body made him want to kill. So, he severed his arm and escaped. But then he was caught. Kun Kui Yan coldly looked at Ban Ruo. If I hadn't arrived in time, you would have already recognized Chu. Speaking of that, Kun Kui Yan grabbed Ban Ruo's neck in anger. Chu gave you my Kunping bone. You trash don't deserve to use my bone. Kun Kui Yan got angrier and directly choked Ban Ruo. Not bad. Ban Ruo glared at him. You actually ate the life source Chu gave me. You deserve to die. Kun Kui Yan kicked Ban Ruo down. And this, he showed a jade pendant. You should be familiar with this, it's my treasure. Seeing this, Ban Ruo was even angrier. That's Zhu Hannong's waist jade. How dare you steal it? The statue suddenly laughed. The heavenly Tao is so generous to you. All this treasure I tricked out of those demon generals is for you. Ban Ruo was shocked. Tricked? Did the heavenly Tao trick me? Kun Kui Yan knew Ban Ruo was in the dark. The heavenly Tao was the one who killed Chu. How could he bring him back just because of your trap? The statue also snorted. A bunch of troublemakers. After 1,000 years, you still don't know how your master died. Ban Ruo was about to explode. They always thought Chu was killed by those idiots, but it was all the heavenly Tao's scheme. He looked at Kun Kui Yan. I'll kill you. But he was no match for Kun Kui Yan. Kun Kui Yan wasn't moved. You want to kill me? You're dreaming. You watched Chu die, and now I will make him watch you die. And then I will kill him myself. Kun Kui Yan was laughing maniacally. Ban Ruo was furious, but couldn't do anything. He shed tears of pain, but he had one thought. They can't hurt Chu. Suddenly, the statue reminded Kun Kui Yan, I don't care about your grudge with Chu, but the heavenly Tao didn't tell you that I still have a debt with him. Kun Kui Yan didn't care. What? At least we both want Chu. The demon leader laughed. We demon lords are treacherous, but you are more so. If you hadn't eaten humans, would Chu try to kill you? You and the heavenly Tao are birds of a feather. If it wasn't for that dog heavenly Tao, I wouldn't be trapped down here. The human king went to the underworld, and the demon heart went to Chu. You bringing Chu here is helping him. Even if Chu is not bad for your demon clan, what about the other one? Your demon clan is loyal to that one, or why would you work with the heavenly Tao back then? Kun Kui Yan didn't want to waste words. I'm here for a partnership. I'm offering this waste jade. Zhu Hannong is outside the city. We need him. At the same time, Chu Jun was also beginning to suspect it was all a trick by the heavenly Tao. He received a message from Jiaolong. He sensed his waste jade in the center city. But it disappeared too fast. Yan Su was also confused. Didn't Jiaolong give the waste jade to the heavenly Tao? Why would it be in the city? Chu Jun suddenly looked at Yan Su. According to Jiaolong, his waste jade is with a great demon. Did the heavenly Tao give it to him? Then what did they do before? Why would the heavenly Tao trick them? Moo gritted his teeth. I'm suspicious too. If it was a fair trade, why would you be looking for it? And why would he stop you from finding it? Yan Su agreed. That's probably the most likely. After all, you did kill his teammates. Chu Jun remembered the Kunping he killed. He deserved it. But Yan Su didn't think so. The heavenly Tao wouldn't think it's just. Chu Jun suddenly grabbed Yan Su's face and seriously said, the demon energy in the city is chaotic, but with the heavenly Tao involved, the situation is going to turn. This made Yan Su uncomfortable. Chu Jun pulled Yan Su outside. Let's deal with the fake artifacts first, otherwise, things will get worse. Yan Su nodded calmly. He was worried about the future too. Here, Chu Jun heard this and thought of their relationship, so he was touched. He leaned close to Yan Su. It's great to have you, cousin. Yan Su secretly thought, if the heavenly Tao is unfair to him, then I will destroy the heavens. 1,000-year friends together. Chu finally overcame his fear of the Hama Jin, and exposed his past. That was his Ban Ruo. In the forest, Chu Jun and Yan Su began to search for the infected villagers. The state preceptor also sent people to search. Looking at the forest, Chu Jun said, there are so many people. We were supposed to be low-key. This preceptor is full of lies. He thought, maybe because the forest is so big. If we don't have enough people, the black monsters won't be found. Chu Jun twitched his lip. Cousin, why do you always listen to him? Yan Su was speechless, secretly worried about the future. Chu Jun walked over to Hu Dabiao and asked about the situation. Hu Dabiao said seriously, there are hundreds of black monsters in the forest. According to our investigation, they are all villagers, and many are from the center city. Chu Jun knew that if the water source wasn't fixed, the number of black monsters would keep increasing. Bai Yi asked, how do we fix the water source? Cut it off, or tell everyone not to drink it. Chu Jun shook his head. That won't solve the problem. Only by destroying the demon behind it can we truly fix it. Hu Dabiao and Bai Yi both said, that mountain. Chu Jun's smile darkened. The one who is pretending to be the mountain lord. Hu Dabiao looked at the evil in Chu Jun's eyes and felt scared. Yan Su was already planning. We need a breakthrough. The whole thing is controlled by that demon, so it will not be easy to eliminate. Chu Jun had a plan. A breakthrough is easy. Yan Su already knew. That Hama Jin. Chu Jun nodded. Yes. If we find Hama Jin, we can control the demon. Just then, the town's demons screamed that they had found him. First, let's take the others to find the Hama Jin. Suddenly, Chu Jun felt scared again. Hama Jin. Deep down, I'm still a bit afraid of the Hama Jin. Yan Su noticed Chu Jun's distress. He told him, you can wait here. I'll go check it out. I'll tell you if anything happens. Chu Jun refused to give in. Cousin, are you looking down on me? It's just a Hama Jin. I'm not afraid. Let's go. Bai Yi and Hu Dabiao just stared at them. They felt like they shouldn't be here. Not far away, a group of demon slayers surrounded the Hama Jin. When they saw Chu Jun, they all stepped back. I'll take care of the Hama Jin. When they saw Chu Jun, they explained, I put you in charge. You can decide what to do with this Hama Jin. Chu Jun nodded. I have an idea. Hama Jin was lying on the ground. His blisters were bigger than before. Chu Jun suppressed his fear and asked, did you spread the demon energy in the center city? Hama Jin thought, it's Achu's voice. It really is Achu. Achu is here. My Achu is right in front of me. But he didn't dare to look up, not wanting Achu to see him like this. Chu Jun grabbed Hama Jin's face. Answer my question. Hama Jin was shaking. The person in front of me is the one I protected for 1,000 years. The one who defeated Kunping, fought for him, and made me a god. I can't stop the tears. Achu, I'm sorry. I don't want you to see me like this. Chu Jun noticed the truth-telling spell on Hama Jin, and asked Yan Su if he could break it. Yan Su chanted a spell, and Hama Jin was able to speak. Hama Jin slowly said, A. Chu Jun's soul shook. Ban Ruo. Is that really him? Chu Jun was stunned, unable to react for a long time. Looking at Ban Ruo, Chu Jun's hatred and anger were rising. The slayers behind him noticed something was wrong. Master, do you know this Hama Jin? Chu Jun finally came to his senses. Hes not Hama Jin, hes Ban Ruo. My Ban Ruo. Chu Jun reached out to touch Ban Ruo, but Ban Ruo knew Chu hated this form, so he didn't want Chu to see him like this. But Chu Jun grabbed him and embraced him tightly. Back in his tent, with Chu Jun and Yunsu's magic, Ban Ruo's wounds healed quickly, and the blisters disappeared. Chu Jun told him not to worry. I will find someone to help you go back to normal. Ban Ruo's eyes were sad. We were tricked by the heavenly Tao. He didn't let you wake up and made Kun Kui Yun alive. Hearing this, Chu Jun angrily slammed the table. Damn that heavenly Tao. I knew it wasn't that simple. You were all tricked, but why am I so unlucky? Why would I go to that place and become a ghost there? Ban Ruo mentioned another thing. Zhu Hennong's waist jade is now in Kun Kui Yun's hand. Suddenly, a familiar voice sounded outside. Really? I knew I sensed it. My waist jade is in this city. Chu Jun and Ban Ruo turned around. Jiaolong, is it really you? Jiaolong's eyes were full of killing intent. If I don't come, how will you deal with that guy?